Hey guys, what's going on? We're looking at MU. I deleted the zones and jumped it up to the weekly. You could even do monthly and start out. And you see there's a good reason we came right up here, just under 100, and then bailed out. What's that? 1 month. Tried it on the second month and immediately crashed out. 3, 4, looks like a little bounce, might be a good spot. Uh, 5, 6. So it's been what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 months basically, right? Since approaching that and no recovery. Um, does look like a little bit of a bull flag. It really would be nice. It does not look like this over here. So keep that in mind, you know. um, we could, over the next week, uh, make it look, it could turn out looking just like that. Still have some time in the month, but anyways, to keep this quick, I just want to mark that, right? So I know that is, I'm going to go in here, no, I'm going to go in here. We're just going to put all-time highs. That is it. That way, I know what's what. Okay, so going back down to the week, right? This is really what I care about here. I want to find some areas of interest and drop some zones. I will do one down below here. I guess we can just do this now. You guys, I do keep the magnet on. It's the weak magnet. And I like that because I can just move my line right there and boom, tag it, it's done. I don't know if that's the one I want. I want that. Yeah, I really like that. Okay. And some people would say, hey, grab this right here. And I mean, that would work too. But I'm looking for those. If we're dropping, I want to know where we're going to bounce. And there's a really good chance we will bounce here or just slightly above right here at the peak of this, right? So what is that? That is 64.81. I would assume that we would bounce there. Enough so I guess that I could even do that. So that could be a little interest zone. We'll revisit that since we're still on the weekly. Let's grab another one. At this point, I do want to put up here. And all I'm looking for is obviously areas, right? I mean, obviously we pushed up, we came up, we hit this peak here. And I may review that and actually move that up. But for now, same chart. But you can see we came up. These are weekly candles. So we came up, dropped off, got into the next week, tried to push up, came down. There might have been a whole bunch of up and down there. But at the end of the day, or the week, I should say, we dropped down. Now we did hold here, which is a good sign. So yeah, we're just going to do that. Let's look for any other areas that are obvious. Obviously here we pushed up, got rejected, came right back down. So let's see. And what I do is so even before I put this on, I'm looking, I realize it lines up right here with this candle, the opening, or the close, sorry. And, and then obviously this came down and touched it. But again, because it's the weekly, it's kind of hard to put. So I'm just going to put one line here. And then, obviously we have the highs here. And we did flutter around in here quite a bit. But I think for now that is good. I'm going to go back down to the daily. The daily is really the bread and butter as far as getting those main areas of interest for me. So, again, it's the same storyline, right? I want to know, we came up here, kind of based out, pushed up that day, came back down. The thing is, I want the zones to make sense with the price as well. They could almost be like that. I mean, that's a $2.40, basically $2.50 zone right there. That could even, no, go like that. Yeah, so the reason I like the magnet, another reason, if you grab that center, as long as you grab the dot, it'll start grabbing, it either grabs the high-low, open or close of a candle. Um, and with a weak magnet, it still allows you to kind of pull away from that and then go into free mode. So something to keep in mind. All right, so here we have, some price action. We came up, obviously we gapped up, kind of settled back down, and then uh, gapped up again the next day or overnight, and made a run for it and then bounced back off. So I mean, some people might have two zones here. I don't think I'd want to do that personally. So what I like is I really like, it's not what I want. Well, do I like that? Yeah, I kind of do like that actually. And then here, almost, I want to see, where does that line up? Yeah, it's okay, but it's not great. Yeah, I mean, I like that for sure. I don't go by the exact widths, but I do like the fact that it's staying somewhat here inside. I mean, you could even, yeah, I could even move that up like that. And then it's, you basically have two similar sized zones here. So we'll see if we change that again. It's always possible. So with that said, obviously we come up, here's our line up here. So it's obvious on the daily. I think I'm even going to delete that so that we can start fresh and just get an idea. Obviously this is TradingView. If you're on TOS, it's a little bit different to chart. I like TradingView. I don't mind paying for it. My charting abilities definitely increased. However you want to say it, they got better because of TradingView. So I definitely recommend it to everybody. Yeah, so I do like that right there. I grabbed that one only because I noticed it, but it may not. Let's see here. Let's see what the bottom of that is. See, what I'm looking at is over here. And I guess maybe I just grab one of those and call it a day. See how it plays out here too? And here, and here, and all of this, right? Now the question is, where's the next zone? And I guess a couple things come to mind, right? This candle right in here, it's a doji looking candle. That's normally a pretty good sign. There was a battle right there. Assuming, say I put it there, what I do is I start looking across. So I'll kind of hold my cursor there, look across, see what matches up. See if anything kind of bumps there. Look at the overall width of it, I guess. Does it match kind of what I'm looking at here? You tend to see similar price action, the amounts, but that's not a set rule. So go with whatever the chart's telling you. I do like finding like a wick like this. Actually, I like that a lot. Let's just see. Yeah, and if you see, this is great, right? And it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. I'm the type that if we drop here, if I'm going to try to buy on this, right here at 64.50, I got alerts, here, here, and once it hits, I'm watching it. And if I can't watch it, but I'm confident that it's going to bounce or this is where I want to buy, I don't mind spending even an extra 50 cents, but especially just get a little bit higher. That way, if it does bounce off, the top of this wick right here on this bearish day, let's see here, what is that? Yeah, that's 65.33, right? So instead of 64.50, so that's even over 50 cents. But the reality is, if it's gonna, bounce here and go up, or if it's gonna bounce here, I'd rather grab it. I mean, I'm not trying to just grab it up here in the middle of nowhere, but I want to know, right? I at least want to see. So, anyways, alerts are big. You guys can do a lot with it. All right, so Yeah, and I gotta say, I may end up revising this. This may end up becoming one up here. It's kind of hard to say because you could almost have a zone. You could have a line right here. If you look at the cursor with the dotted line, you could almost encompass that as just an area of interest, right? Because obviously we come down, pop up, come down, pop up. But the reality is I don't need 50,000 zones, right? I just want ones that matter. Obviously we get down to this area and we bounce and we bounce. We do bounce up here, but it's just in a trend. There's a lot of price action going on here, and we'll get into price action another day. So, all right, so that's good for now. Let's keep going and look up here. Obviously this is the first thing that catches my eye. We shoot up, boom, top out and drop, right? Then we come up, we kind of do it again, but we drop. So there's obviously, there's some struggle here. So I'm going to put a line there. See what we got. So yeah, you can see here it's almost perfect, right? This is a good example of maybe grabbing a gap. I don't always do this, but I do think it's worthwhile. So, and that's not even the real gap, right? But gaps on daily for me are a little tough. If we get a gap on the 4 hour, it's great. But you can see there's 2 points where we kind of launched over this, and then obviously we came up, retested, and sank. So it's a tough call, though. You know what? No, I don't want that. I want this. It's kind of what I'm looking at. Yeah. Yeah. And then what I really want is, yeah, this right here, I think. Yep. So I like that better. And I like that better because, if you follow the candles up and down, we still have some gaps where it pops up, but it just seems like this area here has more interaction, right? Because we know once we get up here, this is just overextended. You got smart traders and smart investors that bought way back here, riding it up. They know, because they're looking at the bigger time frames, that this is going to be resistance. So they're starting to exit their positions. A lot of this is just, it's either day traders or it's retail getting in, hoping for that breakout. Most professional traders they're not buying the tops. They don't even care if it breaks out, then cool, wait for it to retest. Again, this is on the daily. So you're talking about, you can do a lot of intraday with it and even short swings. But for the price of this ticker, you're not getting huge moves. So, all right, well, that's good for there. It's kind of what I'm looking at. I mean, there are definitely other areas of interest in here, but I think for that, that's the next thing I do. These are my favorite time frames, and obviously I don't use the monthly a ton, but I want to be able to check it. But the daily, the 8 hour, 4 hour, 1 hour, honestly, I don't even need the 2 or the 12 in there. I don't know why. I don't know why the 2 minute is even on there. Or, I'm sorry, it's 2 hour. What am I talking about? 12 hour or the 2 hour. Yeah. Losing my mind. I do use all of these. Some people use the half hour. That's not bad. Anyways, something to think about. So yeah, the 8 hour is good. The 4 hour is going to look like the 8 hour, but sometimes it's just too congested. So I do like the 8 hour to get an idea. So yeah, I'm going to grab something else. And this is where zones may start getting smaller. 100%. I don't have any problem with making my zone smaller. But just know that these become less significant as we get going. So that's kind of what I'm looking at there. This zone here is less, I don't want to say it's less important, but it is, right? We blew right through it. We didn't even stop. Obviously we did come up, confirm from the bottom, and just kept dropping. But it looks like it had some play here, but man, we sold off today. That was a interesting move. Yeah, so what do I want to do here? That is the question, right? Thing is, do I want to like move this up to like here? Something like that. Like that. Looks like it almost needs to be there. Yeah. You know, I do like that. And then, and who knows, I may contradict myself in this. And if I do, just feel free to ask questions if it doesn't make sense in the end. You know, don't be afraid of second guessing yourself and just making adjustments. The best thing you can do is actually make the adjustment, see how it looks, and then, you know, decide whether you want it or not. You know, there have been many times where I make a bunch of zones and I delete them, right? And I start over again, especially with like Amazon. Tesla's known for that. You know, I mean, here's another thing, right? See this here? We know, like I know that there's obviously support resistance. You know, there's a line in the sand here. I don't want that necessarily as my zone. So I just come in here and I do something like this, right? You know, you can make it a 2 and then a dotted line. You know, you can kind of make it something that's noticeable. That way, if we do push up, I'm not caught off guard here. And yeah, you could go into the hourly, you could find the zone. Until we start moving that way, I'm not wasting my time on it. So yeah, that's basically it, guys. This is a pretty simple example, you know, of how I'm finding my zones. You know, I'm looking mainly. It's people. You could say this is just support and resistance. It is, but I'm looking at price action too, and I think that combination ends up helping. Let's see here. Yeah, see, we're starting to shrink these down a little bit. Because I do like, if I grab that. Yeah, that's pretty. Okay, so what I was seeing over here is this. You know how we kind of stacked here? This area right here. We were like down here, which is fine, but I think I like the way it looks here. You know, and you look over here, it looks like, all right, boom, this is obviously a zone. And then things like this wick stretches right up, boom, and goes. I want to grab the top of that. You know, I like candle bodies, of course, but the thing is, I trade enough smaller time frames that if I catch this run, right, I want to know that this is where shit's topping out. I want to know that as you know, as it comes up here, I better start looking. Obviously, we jumped up, but you know, if you notice, the candle bodies start falling into this, and I don't know if that's a factor of, you know, or a consequence of the fact that this was just kind of like a run right up and boom, immediately rejected. You know, and obviously this is confirmed, like that is candle bodies. I'm just trying to kind of explain what stands out. I want all of this, you know. I want the candle bodies and the top of the wick and for it to line up over here. So that makes sense. But yeah, so guys, that is basically it. Now I will say real quick, if we start dropping, right, I'm not trying to look at the 4-hour zones. You know, I mean, if we're dropping, I tag out. I mean, if you're in puts and you're playing it to the downside, then yes, you may want to. But I will immediately jump out to the day, and worst case, go out to the week, and I can start seeing real areas of interest right here, right? We break this, I'm looking at this zone here. We break this, I mean, I don't even know if I'd pick it up here. I might be looking for it down, you know, down here at like 54 or 55 bucks. That's just my thinking, right? I want to come out to a larger time frame immediately, get some solid zones, and then go forward, especially if I'm actively, you know, I want to know what's going on. It tends to work well that way. So, all right, guys, I'm going to try to get this, you know, edited or cleaned up and posted up, and yeah, hopefully it's it helps you guys out. Let me know what you think, and definitely leave some comments. You can leave them in the chat, whatever. DM me. You know, if it helps, it's cool. I know a couple of guys have asked me about it, so let me know what you think. All right, bye.